Thank you, Mr Speaker.
I call the honourable member Chris Whawhauhei to Lohani.
Talohani, Mr Chair. Thank you very much for the chance to speak at this committee stage. Ian Lees-Galloway and Julianne Genter started their contributions by speaking to Supplementary Order Paper 235, I believe, but I'd like to start by addressing Supplementary Order Paper 234, which is still in the name of my colleague Ian Lees-Galloway, and it talks to the amendments that are being made in the bill around the purpose. So I'm starting at the start, a good place to start. And at the moment, the bill as it reads back from the Select Committee has the purpose set out as the purpose of the Act is to contribute to an effective, efficient and safe land transport system in the public interest. We're not happy with that on this side of the House, obviously, so that's why Ian Lees-Galloway has put forward this amendment in Supplementary Order Paper 234, where the purpose should read, and we'd hope that the House would adopt this, the purpose of this Act is to contribute to the aim of achieving an affordable, integrated, safe, responsive and sustainable land transport system. It is a very good amendment, and we do hope that during this debate, and perhaps the Minister and the Chair could comment on this, whether the House could pick this up. And I want to look at each one of these aspects that Ian Lees-Galloway has put in his SOP in the change to the purpose of affordability, being integrated, being safe, being responsive and being sustainable, and put that into the context of the Kapiti Expressway, which the government is forcing upon the people of the Kapiti Coast. Now, let's start with the first one, and that is affordability. As I said earlier in the previous stage of this bill, the government is spending $515 million on this Kapiti Expressway, and a leaked report from Becca last year revealed that the benefit-cost ratio for this investment was $118 million over 30 years. Now, the rough maths in my department says that's a benefit-cost ratio of somewhere around 0.2. So in terms of an investment, it's a dog. So the economic case, or the affordability case in terms of Mr Ian Lees-Galloway's supplementary order paper doesn't stack up in that sense. Now, when you put that next to what was proposed before the Kapiti Expressway, when Stephen Joyce changed the tack of the national government, what the plan before that was with the Western Link Road, which was around $300 million, I believe, was fully consulted with the people of the Kapiti Coast. All the permits and all the official documents were signed off, and things were pretty much ready to go, and everyone in the Kapiti Coast thought that this Western Link Road would go ahead. But no, in December 2009, Stephen Joyce rolled Otaki MP Nathan Guy and decided to go with an option which we now know as the Kapiti Expressway, which is roughly $200 million more than that was what was planned. Now, when you put that into the context of the government being quite tight in the fiscal department, and especially in terms of land transport, and this bill itself allows the government to borrow more for transport. When you go from a $300 million project to a $500 million project, that makes the project much more unaffordable for the government. So to help the government, Ian Lees-Galloway has put forward this supplementary order paper to ensure that any project that it undertakes is affordable. So there you have it. In terms of the Kapiti Expressway, we could have saved the government $200 million in one fell swoop, by making sure there was a roading solution that wasn't just a big concrete ribbon through the Kapiti Coast, but it was an upgrading of State Highway 1, a local road for the locals, and making sure there was a better focus on public transport through the increased electrification of the rail network on the Kapiti Coast. So in terms of affordability, that would have been a much better option for the people of Kapiti, but the government of the day has chosen to ignore that and go ahead with the Kapiti Expressway. And we won't quit in our opposition there are some people who should be quitting, but we won't quit in our opposition to this expressway, because in the affordability stakes, that certainly doesn't match up. Now, the second point that Mr Les Galloway makes in Supplementary Order Paper 234 is an integrated transport system. Now, I've already touched this on this ever so slightly earlier, but what the plan, Mr Chair?
The Honourable Member, Chris Farfui.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. I'm only on to point 2 of 5, so I better get a move on. In terms of integration, the solution for the Kapiti Coast would have been what Labor had proposed towards the end of 2008, and that was to upgrade State Highway 1 to build a link road for the Kapiti Coast. So we separated the local traffic and the through traffic who are dead set on heading further north, even though they should have stayed and spent some money on the Kapiti Coast, and also upgraded the rail link and made it much more accessible and, I guess, affordable for those people who wanted to use public transport. Now, the government has gone against that. It has gone against integration. What it has done is said, we only really care about the big stuff, the big traffic, so we're going to build this $515 million road through the Kapiti Coast. So what you have now, instead of integration, you have the local and the through traffic going on a 4-lane motorway that is crashed right through the Kapiti Coast. Now, as anyone who probably knows the Kapiti Coast well, it's a mixture of both young and old. A lot of people head up to the Kapiti Coast to retire. Now, what you're going to get now is, unfortunately, some people who probably would prefer not to go on a 4-lane monstrosity, mixing with the big trucks that are heading either north or south through the Kapiti Coast, and probably feeling very worried about that. So that's not necessarily the best in terms of safety and not the best in terms of an integrated service. Now, also, they're not looking at upgrading the rail network. There's no focus on that, and I think that is a real loss given the number of people who are now making their homes on the Kapiti Coast and moving and transporting themselves to Wellington, which is not a dying city, I should add. It is not a dying city, who are commuting to Wellington, heading south to work. More and more people are doing that, and more of them would prefer a much more integrated public transport system, and our option with the Western Link Road would do that. And if the government did have integrated transport systems at the purpose, at the very heart of this bill, then maybe it would have been able to do that with the Western Link Road plan instead of the Kapiti Expressway. Number 3, I think I'm a bit behind. Safety. I've already mentioned the fact that this road that the government wants to build is a 4-lane monstrosity. So everything will be travelling on it, as opposed to what I said before, the local traffic on the local road and State Highway 1 being for a lot of the commercial and traffic heading further north or further south. Now, in a safety sense, I would prefer, if I was a local, to be on the local road, not mixing with the 2 rig trucks that are speeding at 100 or maybe a little bit more down State Highway 1. Now, I think that in terms of a safety sense is awful. That was the Western Link Road addressed that because the locals didn't want to be mixing with that through traffic. But the government has decided to go against that in terms of safety. Now, responsiveness. Now, with me here, I have the signatures of 4,072 people from the Kapiti Coast. Now, these are the people who were pretty much opposed to, not pretty much, who are dead against the Kapiti Expressway. Now, instead of being responsive, the government ignored these people and is still going through with the Kapiti Expressway. And Mr Sabin wanted me to choose a page, so I will for his pleasure. And I'll choose a random one. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Terry Smith from Wellington. A very good man, Terry Smith. Could be a lady. Bad idea. High impact on local community. Already have transport corridor. Good on you, Terry. That's a very good representation of what the situation is. OK, let's go over here. Susan Ansell from Kapiti in New Zealand. You can serve the need of the local community and provide an efficient, safe, sustainable transport solution, improve rail, 2-lane Western Link Road improvements to make the community have not been fully informed on the effect of a 4-lane highway. Many are unaware of the negative impact it will have on their community at all. So, in terms of responsiveness, Mr Chair, this government has absolutely and utterly ignored the people of Kapiti Coast. Sure, they want a transport solution, but what this government has put in front of them and will enforce on them is not what they wanted. What they wanted was the Western Link route, the one that would have had a local road, an upgrade of State Highway 1 for safety and also for capacity, and also upgrading the public transport route. This government didn't do that. It's gone for the monstrosity.
I call the honourable member, or the Honourable Marianne Street.
Thank you very much, Mr.